Today's episode, we're going to focus on focusing on our customers. So today we're going to be talking to Craig Taylor, our Director of Business Development, as well as Anthony Tucker, our Director of Sales for our Deck Division, about the importance of the customer relationship here at Q-Line. So everything we do is around how can we serve our customers best? What does that look like from a key account representative to a business development representative space? What are the expectations of how we care for our customers? And what does customer obsession look like at Q-Line specifically? So these two folks are incredible. You'll love hearing their stories and their passions for our customers. Hope you enjoy this episode. Craig, Anthony, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I'm really excited about this one, actually.
Would you say this you're most excited about this one?
Most, I don't know, but you know, I think we have to clear up something from the get-go, though. Like, Craig, your voice, you are not a voiceover professional for masking voices on police investigations, are you?
I've never once talked over while someone's face is blurred.
Okay.
It might sound like that. This is my natural voice. I'm here of my own free will.
Amazing.
This is how I sound.
Amazing. Okay. So both of you are in sales. Craig, you're overseeing business development now at Q-Line, which is a big deal. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And Anthony, you've been at Q-Line for a long time and have done sales.
Yeah.
How many years?
11.
Okay, that's a lifetime.
For some.
Started when you were 10.
No.
No, okay. Well, you look so young. I just mean 11 years is a long time.
Good skincare routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Moisturizer.
Okay, so for both of you in your sales career, take us back. What was your first aha moment in your career about the power of putting your customers first?
That's an interesting question. I thought about this a little bit on the way in. I think I had a different perception of sales coming into it and then what the reality is. And I think in my mind, it was just like, go out and make the most amount of money you possibly can. Like, you just kind of screw in the customer and figuring things out. And I think the first realization pretty early in the career is probably within the first month. I had a customer call me once we had completed the load and just was so incredibly thankful for what we did. And it was confusing of like, you just paid me to do a service. Of course, that's what we did. Then there was that sudden like realization of, oh, actually I'm here to help people. That's really what the job comes down to is you know, partnerships and helping people.
Love that.
I think there's a natural instinct for salespeople. Well, when you first start selling, that you need to say as much as possible in as short of a period of time. And we've referred to it in the past for product dumping on someone, right? Mm-hmm. And so every new salesperson kind of goes into this zone and they hear like, oh, you're interested in my service? Okay, well, here's what we can do and here's why we're better and this is why this is good. The aha moment comes from that customer, you realizing, oh, the service I have is helping this customer solve a problem. And once you get past that hurdle, you leave, sorry to everyone who does this, used car sales territory, and you enter the actual profession of sales, which is really just problem solving for a customer. And that's where relationships build, and that's where the whole thing takes off from there.
100%. Okay, so tell me about a time for either one of you where you listen deeply to a customer need or customer problem, and that actually helped you get to the solution much quicker.
We actually had one when Craig came on. One of the things we started doing was quarterly reviews with our customers, and we had a long-term customer. I think we've probably worked with them for the last 10 years or so. And we were preparing for the review, had a bunch of questions laid out, and we went into it. Craig asked some really good questions, and what came of it was the customer actually came forward with, well, this is what I present to our leadership team. This is a metric that we use every single day, and that's how we measure carries against. 10 years of working with this customer, we had no idea. So
that's wild.
Part of it is the length of time you forget to ask and make sure we're doing the right things, but a lot of it is just really listening to their wants and needs.
And you might assume it's you know, they think about safety or they think about whatever it is. And this customer gave us a metric that they couldn't track, but that we can track for them.
Yeah.
And the value there then for them to streamline, okay, I'm going to take this back to my manager and we're going to do this. We had just solved the problem for that, and it helped us cement that relationship.
100%.
So when you think about that, listening deeply, solving problems, has there ever been a time in either one of your careers, whether it was in at Q-Line or whether it was maybe in the tech sector where you're coming from, Craig, where it moved from just a business relationship to something a little bit deeper? It was more of a human connection there. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, lucky enough to work very closely with a number of customers in sort of a direct relationship where I would fly out to see them. And there's one customer that I would see in Toronto all the time. Every second month we'd go out. And there was kind of two things that formed that relationship to something deeper. First was we built something together. So there was a partnership where we started at $0 in revenue and we built it to a much, I think it was at one point, in my previous stop, it was the highest customer that we had. So building something from zero all the way there means that it was mutually beneficial. They were doing really well. We were doing really well. And they knew that because I was flying there and I was meeting with their team and I was doing sales team training and I was involved in strategy meetings, it had come to something that was more than just, we're getting this from you. You're now involved in our business.
Right.
And that relationship, it really did grow into a friendship, and I still reach out to this individual who I see as a bit of a mentor to me, and we still just chat and get life updates because I met his family and I know his wife,
right.
And then it turned into something even more. And just kind of a funny story, I went to Montreal once to meet them. And I was fairly new in this relationship, and I was fairly new in sort of the sales element of taking someone out to supper.
Yeah.
And so I was a little nervous, but I was like, I don't know Montreal all that well.
Sure.
You guys recommend where we should go. So we go to this really nice Italian restaurant, and before we know it, they're ordering like $200 bottles of wine and whatever else. And so I text my CRO at the time, and I'm like, look, I'm out for supper right now. I need to make sure this is kosher and that I can actually expense it. He's like, yeah, absolutely. These guys are our biggest customer. Don't worry about it. But I was sitting there shaking in my boots for 5 minutes as the wine started coming out. Steaks are being ordered. There's oysters on the table. It was a whole different experience. But once you get to that level with a customer, then and the benefits there, it's no problem at all.
I remember early in my career too, I had some clients. It was my first road trip to go see clients face to face. I'm so intimidated. Like, you're walking into offices that you don't know and talking to, people you talk to every day, but you'd never seen face to face. And I remember one, he was actually in Southern Alberta. I went in, we ended up just talking. I think I looked down at my watch and it was an hour and a half, and we hadn't even started to talk about work yet. And those are the kind of relationships I value. And then, it goes both ways. I'll bend over backwards for him. I'll do anything for him now. But some of those times where you don't have to just talk about work and you're just connecting on in this case, it was, his son ran a coffee shop and I ran a coffee shop previous to this. And it was just an easy way to connect. And then we got into, kids and life and how we ended up in our careers and things like that. And those are some of the most memorable relationships through it. And you actually end up running into a lot of them. You talk to a lot of your customers every single day and you get to know them on a level that's tends to be deeper. Not everything is simply a transaction. So yeah, some of my favorite customers is exactly that, where you're not talking about work and it's a secondary to the relationship you have.
I think talk to us a little bit about the idea of relationship selling. So at Q-Line, we want to build relationships or partnerships with our customers. And I think, the folks that are listening to this are not only internal people at Q-Line, so our own employees, but also potential customers and existing customers. So, but lots of times people don't hear about sales philosophies or relationship pieces and what that does for our culture and what that means to our culture at Q-Line. So it would be helpful if you could both kind of speak to that a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, I think Anthony and I talked a little bit about this trait, and it's you see it in sales a lot that there's a natural seller. Anthony's a natural seller, right? Like, you get him going, and there's you can tell there is a charisma to the natural seller. But I think that there is also sort of the underlying trait of a customer obsession, and it's a little bit harder to articulate what customer obsession looks like, but it's sort of this, I'm not going to let this customer fail. And so there is this trust that builds because they know that you have their back, and then vice versa as well. It can never just be a one-sided thing. Otherwise, that trust falls apart and does that. But I think there's a certain type of person who gravitates towards like, okay, I'm going to earn their trust, and I'm going to do that by, it's the same way you'd earn any kind of trust. I'm going to do what I say, and I'm going to do it well, and then that relationship builds over time.
Yeah, like we said, we talked about it a little bit, but I think the term gets thrown around a lot, the term of customer obsession, but it is similar to a natural ability. There's people that have the natural ability where the actual goal for them is that customers' needs and wants, and the monetary value is secondary. It ends up, like you said, a partnership, which is our goal at Q-Line, where mutual success is what we're actually looking for. If we can help a customer, sometimes even outside of what we do daily, on suggestion, we've talked about coming in and helping customers engineer products so that it is either safer moving down the road or cheaper and more cost effective. And that's where we both succeed. We're working together on making it safer for our drivers, but also saving some money for the customer and things like that. So, but yeah, I think certainly there's people that it comes naturally, and you can see even their own incentives and things like that is secondary to making sure that all those customers' needs and wants are met. So yeah.
And there is a point though where you get to, and this is sort of the ideal partnership level, where all of a sudden you can actually talk about the monetary side of it too. So you don't have to be like, oh, everything about you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, like it's all about you. Yeah. We have to run a profitable business. Yeah. But if you can have that conversation with them, that's where you've really hit it, is like, look, I have to be here for these reasons, and you can be transparent. And they say, well, I'm talking with, my person on this side needs this amount, and you can have cards on the table negotiation where both sides end up in a place where they're happy and where they're.
And it's true transparency. Like you want to, talk about your entire business with them, and they want to talk about their entire business with you, and it leads to conversations that normally you wouldn't have had, and avenues for you guys to work together differently, or assist in a different way than you had previously. So yeah, that's I mean, as we move through this, we talked about a few examples, but we've had some that we've come together, and one particular customer had come to us and kind of looked at what does it look like for Q-Line to just manage everything for us, and what would the additional cost be? And it really came down to there isn't an additional cost. And what that's now opened us up to in 2 or 3 years of doing this is we have such transparent conversations where we're going back and forth and understanding each other, and I'm able to help them when they're on a tight deal, and vice versa. When we're a little short on some cash on our side, they can come to the table and say, I got a little extra here. And that's really the true partnership that we look for with our customers, because I think it just opens yourselves up to, again, like I said, that mutual success where as our customers succeed, we succeed, and vice versa, and we can kind of grow together. So.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about your teams. I know you have key account reps on your side, and you have business development reps or managers on your side. What can our customers expect from those folks, whether it's the initial business development conversation or it's somebody who's taking care of accounts over time? Like what do you hope our customers are experiencing from our representatives, from the folks that care for their accounts and for their businesses?
Yeah, business development, because we're often the first point of contact. The two things that I know my team are going out there and doing is they're approaching people who we know we can solve a problem for. We're not going to someone for the sake of having that conversation or making that call. We know, because we've seen other customers that we've done this for before, we've solved this problem. Here's how we could do it for you. That's sort of the approach there. The second piece I know from business development, this extends to the key account reps too. We want to make sure we're asking the best questions. So, because we need to uncover what that problem really looks like. Is there even a need for us to work together right now, or is this something that we can come back to at a later point? So it's about asking questions, active listening, finding the right solution, whether it's now or it's in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on our side, so Q-Line as a whole over the last 30 years has really grown from a small family company to what we are today. And what I have found, especially with our reps, we try to hold on to those family values. And what I mean by that is that personal connection piece, that, hey, if I need to call you on your cell phone at 5:55, are you going to still answer? Or, I have this weird question that I just need to run by you for 30 seconds and hang up. Is that okay? And I think our reps do a really good job of, investing in the companies that we're working with. And a term that gets used a lot is industry expert or expert in that vertical. And our team really takes it to heart on learning what our customers do, what their needs are, and exactly asking those questions to better understand how we can be a piece to fit in that puzzle. And I think our team does a really good job of it. And I think we still do, I pride ourselves in having that human interaction and that point of contact that remains consistent for you that I feel like is part of our core, I'm going to call it family values as we've grown.
And I've seen it before, like you've had customers call you or your reps too and be like, I'm having this customs issue, and they don't know anything about it, but they know that Q-Line or their rep is going to have the answer for that. And that's where it goes beyond a transactional relationship, right? It's not like, well, $20 and I'll tell you the answer, right?
Exactly.
It's like, we're going to, if that customer needs that answer, it might not lead to anything right now, but we know there's enough trust being built there for the future for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so what's a customer success story? Like when you think about the customers that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, without using names or company, whatever, I think what has brought you a lot of pride in terms of a customer success story?
We've touched on a few as we've gone through this, but I really lean into that partnership model. That's the type of business that I enjoy. Obviously, there is a lot of transactional relationships that happen, but again, going back to some of the examples we talked about, we've had customers that have, they built a product, tried to ship it, the prototype or whatever it might be, and realized like, holy cow, this is 5x the cost of what we were expecting. So then they've come to us and said like, would you mind coming and looking with our engineers and seeing if we can change some things and make it work? And we've had, I think, 2 larger customers now where we've sent a team of 2 to 3 people down and sat with their engineering team for a day or 2 days and gone through and just looked at routing and looked at different avenues that we can cost save and be as safe as we possibly can. And I think that's, once you see that being built and then as we move them down the road, just watching that happen is just like, to me, that is success. Like that's a true partnership where we've both won and we're coming out and freight's on the road and you have customers receiving it that are happy.
I love, and this fits in business development, I love getting a customer who is early in their stage, whatever that might be. In transportation, I think where we've seen success stories in the past, and what I'm really excited for is a company that comes to us and they're like, we need to break into Canada. And we're new in this, we haven't done this before, like, can you help us do this? And so it's really those places where they start from nothing and then they grow over time and you grow together and you work together in that partnership and then they grow to something much larger. Those are my favorite customer success stories. Are not, you come in and they're already rocking and it's let's grow together. It's like a proud father and its child. Not to say that about the customer, but there is a sense of pride in seeing that success after a few years or after a period of time.
Absolutely.
So it's no secret that the market we're in right now can be pretty tough. Because of so many different factors that we won't mention here, but I think people have a good idea as to why the markets are the way they are. How do you stay motivated? Like when it comes to your teams, yourselves, hitting targets, but also making sure that customers are cared for without, I think, we talked about earlier, like the sleazy selling or like the trying to just sell to make money for yourself. Understanding that your customers are going through some things too. How do you balance all of that and how do you stay motivated and keep your teams motivated?
And I think this actually plays well to what you were just talking about, but with some of the turbulence in the market right now, our customers have had to get a little bit creative on how they get products to Canada, whether that's from overseas or from the south. And we've actually been able to step in and there's different avenues that we can take with customs and things like that we offer that we've been able to kind of find solutions for all of them. And I think even though the numbers aren't there, but we're still fostering an early relationship of seeing them through a problem. And I think, the market's tough, but I think the opportunity to solve or at least assist in solving a part of that problem when you have a customer that doesn't even know where to look, that's still something that can motivate you through. And I think, that's what I lean on as success. I mean, of course, there's money and there's profit and there's all these things that tie into it. But just at the end of the day, solving a complex problem for a customer is success. That's all it means to me.
Yeah, and that's one side of looking from a customer perspective, and the other side is your employee perspective too, right? And that can be tough if things are a little bit slower. But I like, in these times when the market is a little bit tougher, is a perfect time to experiment. And I love the idea of giving some freedom to experiment. Okay, should we look at a different market? Should we look at a different way to approach these problems? And getting a little bit more creative on that experimentation. Now's the time when you've been thinking over the past few months or whatever it is, like, I wonder if we could go after this company that's a little bit adjacent to what we do. Now's the time to try it. So I really like kind of empowering that creativity, and the ability to experiment a little bit can keep people thinking in different ways and not just blinders on in the same direction.
Love it. Okay, thinking ahead. What kind of customer stories do you hope people will be telling about Q-Line in the next chapter of the company's future?
Again, I'm just going to repeat myself 100 times today.
Repeat yourself.
But I do think, we've shared some of the engineering pieces and some pieces where we've been able to step in and become the transportation department for a couple of companies. And when I can look back and hear, and I've had them say it, Q-Line stepped in and did this for us, and it's taken so much weight off our plate. That's the kind of stuff I want to be known for. I mean, it's our drivers, I think, are incredible. I just sat in a client meeting the other day, and they said, "To be honest with you, we've never actually moved freight ourselves. We usually have our suppliers do it. But your driver, in this case, I'll use X, was so good that we just want to make sure that we have him going forward." So that's so important. Our drivers are the forefront of our whole industry. The sales side is important and the relationship side building important, but at the end of the day, the driver's the first one there and the last to leave. Mm-hmm. So that's really what it comes down to. And I think the quality of our drivers, the quality of our equipment, and that family values that we hold on to, that's all I want to hear about in the future. That's the best.
That's great.
Yeah, I love hearing things like that. It's awesome. And it's to that point, success in the future that we want to hear about is really, what I look at there is, could they have done it with someone else? And I think there's a lot of situations that we get to where a customer will tell us, like, we couldn't have done this without Q-Line. And it's those stories that I want to hear more of. Yeah. And I know that we can do that, right? Because of our unique culture, because of our drivers, because of the people that we have. We can do things a little bit differently, and we don't like to say, no, we can't do that. We like to find solutions. And so what that leads to is customers that are in a unique place, and they couldn't have used another transportation company mm-hmm. to do it. Mm-hmm. And so if we reach that level of partnership, that's what I love to hear and want to see more and more and more of.
I agree. Amazing. Any last words for either our customers or folks internally, just about Q-Line and some encouragements?
I think, honestly, just a thank you to everybody. Without our drivers, without our staff in the office, and without our customers, we wouldn't be here doing this today. So, I mean, all of it is meaningful, and I think everybody plays a part into the bigger piece that is Q-Line. So,
yeah, our people are such a key piece of this, and I've noticed that early on in my tenure with Q-Line as well, that it's from drivers, the employees, all the way through the organization. It's incredible people, and we can't do it without all of those people. So special thank you to all of them.
Keep on trucking.